Reality Bites 2, Fantasies Can Also Bite. In tandem with the showing of this movie, the following is taking place. Winona Ryder goes to see Reality Bites 2, Fantasies Can Also Bite, with Janine Garofalo at the Dream Love Theater in San Francisco. They both order a bucket of popcorn and soda pop. They go to their seats to watch the movie. They see the scene where the real-life Mike Meyer is talking to the archetypal characters, Mike Meyer and Leilana Pierce, and giving them advice how to facilitate Leilana Pierce moving to San Francisco by filming a documentary there. It's always interesting to watch yourself in a movie, isn't it, Janine? Yes, it is. I think people are very critical of themselves, so it can be hard to watch yourself. It's easier to watch other people because you don't really care if they embarrass themselves. How about it? I acted in this movie with Mike Meyer, and I thought he was terrific in it. His notion that we are predestined lovers is really convincing to me. I would agree with that, Winona. He seems to really believe that the consummation of his love for you would confer immortality to both of you. Immortality is the ultimate human quest. You can have a lot of material things in this world, but when this life is over, the thought of non-existence is a thought that is so hard to accept. I wonder where life takes place beyond this tangible reality where we have here. I think it takes place in a place that transcends time and space. Let's watch the movie. Yeah, let's. Winona and Janine watch the movie. Here's a scene from it. Leilana and Mike are sitting in Mike's condominium in San Francisco at night, talking and looking at the Golden Gate Bridge, glistening in the moonlight. Would you like a beer, Mike? Sure. What do you have? Anchor Steam. I love that. It's blend. It's brewed here in San Francisco. I brought some here. So, Leilana, you like the idea of filming a documentary of Mike Meyer's quest to meet Winona Ryder? Yes, I do, but I have to finish my filming of my documentary of the American buffalo in Texas. I'm stuck in Texas for a while. Can you film this? Can you film this for now and then return to that? No, I have to finish it. I'm contractually bound. That sucks. Also, I want you to appear in my theater production of William Shakespeare plays. Can you appear in them while you're filming your documentaries? Yeah. Would you like to practice some William Shakespeare dialogue tonight? Sure. Mike and Leilana practice again. Here's an excerpt from it. Okay, now I got to get my William Shakespeare book out. I'll be right back. Okay, how about, let's see. The Taming of the Shrew. Okay. Let's see. What do we got here? Um, okay. The Taming of the Shrew. Okay. No, let's do Hamlet. Prince of Denmark. Scene 6, Elsinore, the castle. Enter Horatio and an attendant. What are they that they would speak with me? Seafaring men, sir. They say they have letters for you. Let them come in. I do not know from what part of the world I should be greeted. If not from Hamlet. Enter sailors. God bless you, sir. Let him bless thee too. I shall, sir. Ain't please him, there's a letter for you. It came from the ambassador that was bound for England. If your name be Horatio, as I am to know it is. Horatio, when thou shalt have overlooked this, give these fellows some means to the king. They have letters for him. Ere we were 2 days old at sea, a pirate of very warlike appointment gave us chase. Finding ourselves too slow of sail, we put on a compelled valor, and in the grapple I boarded them. On the instant they got clear of our ship, so I alone became. They have dealt with me like thieves of mercy, but they knew not what they did. I am to do a good turn for them. Let the king have the letters I have sent, and repair thou to me, and as much these blah blah blah. C7, Elsinore the castle. Enter king and Laertes. Now must your conscience my acquaintance seal. And you must put me in your heart for friend. And since you have heard, and with a knowing ear, that thou which hath your noble found father slain pursued my life. It well appears, but tell me why you proceeded not against these feats, so crimeful and so capital in nature. As by your safety, wisdom, all things else, you mainly were stirred up. Oh, for two special reasons, which may to you perhaps seem much ensued, but yet to me they are strong. The queen, his mother, lives almost by his looks, and for myself, my virtue or my plague, be it either which. She is so conjunctive to my life and soul, that as the star moves not but in his sphere, I could not but by her. The other motive, why to a public count I might not go, is the great love the general gender bear him, who dipping all his faults in their affection, work like the spring that turneth wood to stone. Convert his gyves to graces, so that my arrows, too slightly timbered for so loud a wind, would have reverted to my bow again. but not where I have aimed them. And so I have a noble father lost, a sister driven into desperate terms, whose worth, if praises may go back again, stood challenger on mount of all age, for her perfections, but my revenge will come. Break not your sleeps for that. You must not think that we are made of stuff so flat and dull that we can let our beard be shook with danger and think it pastime. You shortly shall hear more. How now? What news? Letters from Hamlet. This to the Queen. From Hamlet. Who brought them? Sailors, they say. I saw them not. They were given to me by Claudio. He received of them, of him that brought them. Laertes, you shall hear them. High and mighty, you shall know I am set naked on your kingdom. Tomorrow shall I beg leave to see your kingly eyes. Then I shall, first asking your pardon thereunto, recount the occasion of my sudden more strange return. What should this mean? Are all the rest to come back? Or is it some abuse and no such thing? Know you the hand? 'Tis Hamlet's character, naked. And the postscript here, he says alone. Can you devise me? I am lost in it. But let him come. It warms the very sickness in my heart that I shall live and tell him to his teeth. Thus didst thou. If it be so, Laertes, as how should it be how otherwise? Will you be ruled by me? Overruled in peace. To thine own peace, if he now returned is checking at his voyage, and that he means no more to undertake, I will work him to an exploit now ripe in my device, under the which he shall not choose but fall. And for his death no wind of blame shall breathe, but even his mother shall uncharge the practice and call it an accident. Hamlet. Okay, that was enough of Hamlet. Now I'm going to go back to my play. Okay. Let's see. Where did I live off with my play? I see. Oh God. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Okay. So, anyways, Mike and Leilani thoroughly enjoyed performing the William Shakespeare dialogue and sat on the couch talking and looking out of the ocean near the Golden Gate Bridge. Suddenly the phone rang. Mike answered it. Hello? Yes, this is Mike. What? It's terrible. I'm here with Leilana in my condominium. It's really bad news, Penelope. Devastated. Are you open tomorrow? Good. Would you care if Leilani and I stop by for pancakes tomorrow? Great, we'll see you. This is horrible news, Leilani. What is it, Mike? Pancakes by the Bay was vandalized yesterday. Thieves came in, ransacked the place, and emptied the cash register. It may be financially insolvent now. That is horrible. That is the place where I truly felt that I was falling in love with you. Eating those pancakes and feeling that love. We have to do something about this. What can we do about it? I just thought of something. We could have a Shakespeare festival in your theater. We can use the proceeds to save Pancakes by the Bay. That's a great idea, Leilani. We need to save Pancakes by the Bay. That was the moment when I felt that I was falling profoundly in love with you. I could have pancakes at any other restaurant in America, and that they wouldn't share the same taste sensation that those pancakes have, because in my mind, I associate them with platonic love. I agree. Would you like to practice some more William Shakespeare dialogue? Mike? Yeah, let's. This really motivates me to go into acting, Mike. I want to save Pancakes by the Bay, and I want to preserve the beauty of our love that is inextricably bound to their pancakes. I agree. Mike and I want to practice some more William Shakespeare dialogue. Here's an excerpt from it. I have to get my William Shakespeare book out again. Okay, Romeo and Juliet. I'm going to read the introduction again because I just kind of like to read this introduction. It gives me a better understanding. Sometimes I like to read an introduction to something, or that it's like I have a better understanding of what I'm watching when I have like some kind of general synopsis of the thing, and it makes it more comprehensible. Romeo and Juliet, introduction by Stuart Gillespie. Romeo and Juliet is usually dated to the mid-1590s, well before any of Shakespeare's major tragedies in the 1600s. The question of the play's relation to these later works is worth raising first. Modern readers are inclined to equate tragic power with large quotients of bleakness and pessimism. This is one reason why, in the late 20th century, King Lear is often felt to represent the apogee of Shakespeare's tragic work. But the absence of such qualities from Romeo and Juliet is not a sufficient reason to relegate it to a lower status as a tragedy. Nor is the presence of in it of remarkably effective comic scenes, which can easily be paralleled from the later tragedies. But in the two aspects in which the play can most readily be seen as operating with the tragic pattern, limitations are in evidence. First, the supernatural elements in the situation, though frequently referred to by the characters, seem not to create the effect of tragic forces at play. The prologue famously refers to star-crossed lovers, and Romeo begins by describing his fear of some consequence he had hanging in the stars that will expire the term of his life, 1.4. But these references to fate and fortune never build up to a coherent explanation for the play's catastrophe. Romeo's death scene itself offers no suggestion of cosmic forces at work, and the chain of events which led to it described by the friar Lawrence in his final resume as a mere sequence of accidents. Secondly, the 2 points in Act 5 offering scope for climactic tragic intensity containing the deaths of Romeo and Juliet, 50 lines apart in Act 5, Scene 3, are both emotionally frigid. Neither character looks death in the face as it really is. Death is to them a relief, almost a mere figure of speech. Mason, 1970. None of this is to deny that the play can boast wonderful qualities and incomparable moments. It is merely to say that we should not imagine its appeal to lie principally in its tragicality or associate it too strongly with Shakespeare's later tragedies. In other ways, in fact, the play gains by comparison with later Shakespearean works. Not a few of Shakespeare's later young lovers seem insipid and half-hearted creations when we recall the robust and vibrant energy with which Romeo and Juliet are invested. Shakespeare's achievement here does not lie in giving the lovers truth to life in any direct sense. The extreme youth of Juliet, for example, seems to have more to do with romance than with contemporary reality. In the balcony scene, which T.S. Eliot calls a kind of image of the perfection of verse drama, Eliot, 1951. What matters is not a realistic effect, but an atmosphere of wonder and delight. Here, as so often in the play, the most striking impression is of the poetry. A poetry of exhilarated surges, magically swift, light, and intense. Here are the transports of an imagination which is recklessly quick and headlong, but also accurate and subtle. Nor will any audience forget the two characters Shakespeare added to those found in the story, as he knew from the source, Arthur Brooks' poem, The Tragical History of Romeus and Juliet. The nurse and Mercutio. The former's cosmic verbosity certainly suggests she's one of the characters in which the author delighted. Johnson, 1765. And no actor who is capable of speaking her lines can really fail with the part. Hers is perhaps Shakespeare's first greatly human verse speech ever in 1989. Its rhythms are so supple that some early editions erroneously printed parts of it as prose. The phrases are hers and hers alone. Character unfolds with each phrase, Granville Barker, 1930. But she is more than a detached personality, a character sketch in the play. The nurse is discourse operates with the region of the painfully funny and ultimately has similarities with that of Lear's Fool. Like him, she is licensed to speak profound nonsense. Everett, 1989. But Mercutio is perhaps this play's greatest single invention. His exquisite ebullience and overflow of youthful life. Coleridge, 1818. Issues out in his wit, in which arena he is the only match for Romeo. It was once said that Shakespeare was obliged to kill Mercutio in the third act, but lest he be killed by him. Johnson, 1765. That Mercutio's appeal risks overbalancing the play and distracting us from the lovers. Mercutio's death is at any rate something of a showstopper. It involves a serious sense of loss, more serious in many ways than those we experienced with the lovers. They have made worms meat of me. I have it, and soundly too. 3.1. Or whatever. Our Mercutio's last words. He has no regrets, nor any hypocrisy of resignation, but dies with his teeth set up impenitently himself to the last. Okay, so that was bullshit. Okay. No, I'm just kidding. Let's see. Where do I pick this up? I don't know. Whatever. Okay. As I usually do, this is Act 2, Scene 2, where I start this because it's an intense scene between Romeo and Juliet. Capulet's orchard. Enter Romeo. He jests scars that never felt a wound. Enter Juliet above at a window. But soft. What light through yonder window breaks? It is the east, and Juliet is the sun. Arise, fair sun, and kill the envious moon, who is already sick and pale with grief. That thou, her maid, art more fair than she, be not her maid, since she is envious. Her vestal livery is but sick and green, and none but fools do wear it. Cast it off, it is my lady, oh, it is my love, oh, that she knew she were. She speaks that she says nothing, what of that? Her eye discourses, I will answer it. I am too bold. 'Tis not to me she speaks, to the fair stars in all the heaven, having some business to entreat her eyes. So that's pretty deep. Okay. Some of these things, you read some of these lines, and after reading them for a lot of however many times I've gone through this dialogue, sometimes things sink in at later points. And it's like, now I kind of understand that line. It's like, she's like, this is something kind of deep, but Juliet actually sees something like in the stars or in space that she's connecting with some kind of some forces beyond the earth. She's kind of she feels like she's having some kind of revelatory experience where she's connecting with something in the great beyond or something. It's pretty deep, but that's something that I just picked up on now. But I think that's there's so much great insight, and there's so much great. I don't know. For one guy, William Shakespeare, to come up with all this stuff, he probably didn't get out a lot. Anyways, okay. So I'm too bold. Does not. Oh, I already said that. Okay. Two of the fair stars in all the heaven, having some business to entreat her eyes to twinkle in their spheres till they return. What if her eyes were there? They in her head? The brightness of her cheek would shame those stars. As daylight doth a lamp, her eyes in heaven would through the airy region stream so bright that birds would sing and think it were not night. See how she leans her cheek upon that hand. Oh, that I wear a glove upon that hand, that I might touch that cheek. She speaks. Oh, speak again, bright angel. For thou art as glorious as to this night being over my head, as is a winged messenger of heaven unto the white upturned wondering eyes of mortals that fall back to gaze on him, when he bestrides the lazy pacing clouds and sails upon the bosom of the air. O Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo? Deny thy father and refuse thy name. Or if thou wilt woo, be sworn, my love, and I will no longer be a Capulet. Shall I hear more, or shall I speak at this? 'Tis but thy name that is my enemy. Thou art thyself, though not a Montague. What's a Montague? It is nor hand, nor foot, nor arm, nor face, nor any other part belonging to a man. Oh, be some other name. What's in a name? That which we call a rose, by any other name would smell as sweet. So Romeo were not Romeo called, retain that dear perfection which he owes. Without that title, Romeo, doff thy name, and for thy name, which is no part of thee, take all thyself. I take thee at thy word, call me but love, and I'll be new baptized. Henceforth I never will be Romeo. What man art thou, that thou screened in night, so stumblest on my counsel? By a name, I know not how to tell thee who I am. My name, dear saint, is hateful to myself, because it is an enemy to thee. Had I had written, I would tear the word. My ears have not drunk, yet drunk 100 of words of thy tongue's uttering. Yet I know the sound. Art thou not Romeo and a Montague? Neither, fair maid, if either thee dislike. How camest thou hither? Tell me, and wherefore? The orchard walls are high and hard to climb, and the place death, considering who thou art, if any of my kinsmen find thee here. With love's light wings did I overperch these walls. For stony limits cannot hold love out, and what love can do, that dares love attempt. Therefore thy kinsmen are no stop to me. If they do see thee, they will murder thee. Alack, there lies more peril in thine eye than 20 of their swords. Look thou but sweet, and I am proof against their enmity. I would not for the world they saw thee here. I have night's cloak to hide me from their eyes. And but thou love me, let them find me here. My life were better ended by their hate than death prorogued wanting of thy love. By whose direction foundst thou out this place? By love that first did prompt me to inquire. He let me counsel and I lent him eyes. I am no pilot, yet were thou as far as at vast shore wash or the farthest seat I should adventure for such merchandise. Thou knowest the mask of night is on my face. Else would a maiden blush be paid my cheek. For that which thou hast heard me speak tonight, fain would I dwell on form. Fain deny what I have spoke, but farewell compliment. Thus I know thou wilt say aye, and I will take thy word. But yet thou swearest thou may provest false and lovers' perjuries. Blah blah. Lady, by yonder blessed moon, I vow that tips with all these silver, all these fruit tree tops, oh, swear not by the moon, the inconsistent moon, that monthly changes in her circle orb, lest that thy love prove likewise variable. What shall I swear by? Do not swear at all. Or if thou wilt, swear by thy gracious self, which is the God of my idolatry, and I'll believe thee. If my heart's dare love, well, do not swear, although I joy in thee. I have no joy in this contract tonight. It's too rash, too unadvised, too sudden, too like the light which doth cease to be. Ere one could say it lightens, sweet good night. This bud of love by summer's ripening breath may prove a beauty as flower when next we meet. Good night, good night. A sweet repose and rest. Come to my heart as I within my breast. Oh, wilt thou leave me so unsatisfied? What satisfaction canst thou have tonight? The exchange of thy love's faithful vow for mine. I gave thee mine before thou didst request it. Yeah, I would have were to give you. Wouldst thou withdraw it? For what purpose? Love? But to be frank, and to give thee again. And yet I wish for the thing I have. My bounty is boundless as the sea. My love is deep. The more I give to thee, the more I have, for both are infinite. I hear some noise within. Dear love, adieu. Anon, good nurse, sweet Montague, be true. Stay but a little, I will come again. Oh, blessed, blessed night. I'm afraid. Being in night, all this is but a dream, too flattering sweet to be substantial. 3 words, dear Romeo, and good night indeed. If that thy bed of love be honorable, thy purpose marriage, send me word tomorrow, by one that I'll procure to come to thee. Where and what time thou wilt perform the rite. Madam, I come anon. But if do beseech thee. Yeah. Okay, that was enough of that. Okay, so obviously that was some dialogue that I wrote, and then some dialogue that William Shakespeare wrote. Okay,